Hey, Moose Country! Welcome to another episode of Let Us Be Heard.
What's up, everybody? We're back for a really cool interview this time. We spoke with Kevin Cormier, and he actually offered to go live where he will answer any questions that our viewers want to ask, which was so amazing of him. Like, I haven't had this opportunity before, and I think it's going to be a banger of an episode. What do you think there, Dylan?
I honestly think it will be. Like, he also came on and sent you a message, which you told me that he's open. He's an open book. He's willing to chat about anything.
He wants to mostly chat about his time with the Moose. Let's be clear. He's more interested in talking about his time with the Moose, but he has some other.
The other stuff isn't off the table.
Yeah,
if it comes
that's right.
up.
That's right.
So like that's amazing. That's wicked.
No, he seems like an incredible guy. He was drafted by the Phoenix in the 04 entry draft, 168th overall in the 6th round. He ended up, after leaving the Moose in 06, he went to Rimouski, and then traded shortly after to Shawinigan.
So I need to. What you said there is kind of confusing.
What's that?
He was drafted. You said he was drafted by the Phoenix. To clarify, he was drafted by Phoenix Coyotes.
Yeah.
Not by Sherbrooke
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Sorry, my apologies. Yeah. But yeah, so he played for Shawinigan for his last year in the Q. He then played for the CHL's Arizona Sundogs. Went on to play in the AHL for Lowell Devils. And bounced around in LNAH and ECHL. Like he's played a lot of hockey in his years.
Yes, and it'll be interesting to see what the different experience were like in all of the leagues.
Yeah, and I'd like to ask him what happened in 04 to 06, where he more than doubled his time in the penalty box on any other year he ever played hockey.
Sure, I'll answer that.
I don't know.
He was a little bit known for. He was known for. I guess he liked to sit down.
Yeah.
That's my guess. He didn't like skating. He wanted to sit down more.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Anytime he could get where he could be like, oh, wait, me and I can sit down for 5 minutes or more. I'm gonna go sit down, coach.
And we're just waiting for the lobby to fill up a little bit before we invite him in. We told everybody 2:00, so hopefully we can get a few in here before then. I should have put it for 1:45. Get a few people in here.
Should also put in the groups right now that we're currently live.
Yeah, I did put it in our group chat for season ticket holders. But I'm going to go into the groups right now, and I will put it in.
We are live. And you can link it directly to this, right to this video. Right to this live.
There's no link available for this yet until it's over. I at least I wouldn't know how to. I would have to actually open it up. I don't know. If you want to go ahead and do it.
See if I can. There should be.
So, Moose Fan Club. We are live.
Oh. Link the channel again.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Smart. See, this is why you handle all the tech stuff, and I just show up and talk. So, while we're chatting.
Yeah.
Jordan Dumais.
Yeah, what about him?
1 point away from tying.
I know
the all-time record. 2 points away from beating.
And how many away from goals?
I believe he's 6 from tying.
Yeah, he's gonna break that very soon.
Let me double check that. I'm pulling it up right now as we speak. So currently, from tying it, he is 5 goals away from tying the all-time goals.
Wow! And he's still got a full season left, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, do those numbers also count in playoffs or no?
Nope.
No, that sucks.
Regular season. But he's played 81 games so far. He is, to put that in perspective, that puts him at, again, he's 2 points away from breaking the record.
Okay, wait. Something important just came up. Ohio Cheeseman is in the chat, and he never answered us if he's actually from Ohio. He said he likes cheese, but Ohio Cheeseman, are you actually from Ohio?
Or do you currently live there?
Yes. And Melissa, no, it's not 2 o'clock. We're trying to fill up the room and have a few fans in here prior to Cormier coming on, so we can get some interaction for him.
But yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying.
Sorry
before. About that. I know how Yard just pops in. You gotta say it, even though you would be staring at his name. But he's played 181 games played. He has 302 points, which puts him 2 points away from beating the record, and he's 6 goals away from beating the goals. So the person that currently holds that is somebody that we are in talk with about getting on here in Brennan Benedict. He has 119 goals in his career, and he has 303 points. Guess how many games it took him to get that? Jordan's at 181.
201.
343.
Wow, Doomer, buddy. Lighten it up.
343 games played for Brendan Benedict to make it, to get the 303 points.
That's nuts.
Dume is at 181 right now, and he's 2 points away from breaking it. That incredible. Is insane.
Yeah, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And Ohio.
Oh no, he's in Halifax.
Yeah,
I beat you to it.
I guess he likes Ohio cheese. Maybe I don't know. But we got a few people in here now, which is awesome. We're staring at 3. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully there will be.
I'm one of them.
You are? Are you one of them? So we actually only have 2 people.
I gotta have the chat out.
The chat out. So we have 2
how
people.
How else would I see it?
We have it.
No, there's 3.
Who? Jordan? Yeah, Jordan. No,
there's 3. Like,
including you. And then Melissa and Ohio.
Not... Well, now it says 4.
Oh, then somebody else just joined. Yeah, someone else just joined. Awesome. And hopefully there will be more that join. So hey, what up, Trevor? Just to let you know, we're just in here a little early trying to get a bit of a crowd in here before Cormier comes in. He will be in here around, between 10-2 and 2 o'clock. Actually, I don't know.
So between now and 2 o'clock.
Now and 2, yeah. We'll send him the invite.
By the way, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but your Zoom still says Moose Fan.
Because I didn't change it before this episode, but I will change it now. So everybody's going to see me change it. He has to do this
every
and
game,
I don't understand
or everything. Yeah, he does not know how to work it.
I change it every time. I change it before I start, and it still does this, so it doesn't even matter.
There you go.
It's also not 2 yet. I'm gonna go share.
She's gonna share it.
Thanks, hon. That's my wife. She's so supportive. I love you.
I think the last name kind of gave it away.
Yeah, wish it could have been my sister for all you know.
That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, if I was talking to her like that, it would be. Well, not really. I mean, she's my sister, and I said, "That you're so supportive. I love you." That's still acceptable.
So, Ohio Cheeseman.
Mm-hmm.
Why is your name Ohio Cheeseman?
Why not?
I'm very invested in this. As somebody who really likes cheese.
I think you're jealous that you didn't think of it first. Nova Scotia cheese, man.
Oh, I can still make that.
Yeah.
Except mine will be Cheese Dude.
Cheese Dude?
Cheese Dude 92.
Let's see. I'm going to copy the link. And I'm going to send it off to Kevin. And then we'll do our...
Let's chat about something going on tonight, too. 90s night.
90s night. I was gonna dress up all weird, but I think I'd just be uncomfortable in my seat, so I'm just gonna go normal.
I told you wouldn't do it. I called you out on Sunday saying you wouldn't do it.
I know, but then I would have to wear sneakers and my feet get cold. And
why not? That's a fair point, Ohio Cheeseman. But
So invite is sent to Cormier.
Come on, if you're gonna say you're gonna do it, you gotta follow through with it.
I don't know. I'm debating it. It's just I know that backwards pants sitting in that chair is going to be so uncomfortable.
Don't wear jeans, wear sweatpants.
No, because then you can't tell that they're backwards. Crisscross wore backwards jeans.
So wear sweatpants and pull the drawstring out so they hang out the back. And you'll be able to tell.
No, I just know I'll be as uncomfortable as hell. Big pouch sitting in my front because my butt's supposed to be there. Yeah, no, that'll be uncomfortable.
I didn't have to run to the washroom.
Right? Oh my god, that would suck. You're sitting at the urinal, pants down.
You'd look like Butters from South Park, sitting there with the shirt up and the pants.
I'll have my hood over my face.
So nobody knows it's you.
Alright, Cormier's got the invite. Just, like I said, waiting on him to join in.
Yeah. Just killing time now.
Killing some time. Where did my Facebook go? What the heck? Closed it out? Why would I close it out, Dylan?
I don't know. Why would you close it out?
I didn't send the link, Dylan. Closed it out before it sent, Dylan. Why did I do that, Dylan?
You're supposed to be the tech guy.
Listen, listen, man. I just learned about computers. Started learning about computers in January. Okay, I am not a tech guy.
Still, you're supposed to be the tech guy of this. I'm supposed to be the guy that comes in about 5 minutes before we actually go live or go do the interview and just ask the questions. Then I get off and you do everything else.
I'm hiring a monkey to do your fucking job. I'm telling you,
dude. That'd be so easy. By the way, that is very, very true. Colin does a lot, everything behind the scenes. So that's a big help. So when I say that, he does the recordings. He's the one that uploads everything. We both come up with the questions, but when it comes to the tech stuff, he's the one that.
It doesn't matter much on these lies. All I do is push a button on the lies. It's easy as hell.
Dude, it's more than I do. Well, no, because you also got to send out the links. You also got to send like the invites and everything. So.
Oh, I'm just super pumped to get this one underway.
Ohio Cheese Man will try to go to another Mooseheads game and say hi.
Yes.
Feel free.
Yeah, jump up to us, be like, hey, I'm Ohio Cheese Guy. You got a fucking problem with my name? And I'm like, whoa.
Hey.
No.
How about you get his name right? It's Ohio Cheese Man.
Wait. My apologies. I'm sorry. Hey, there we go. What's up, Kevin? How you doing, man? Oh, waiting for audio to connect. Hey, are you there?
Yeah.
Welcome, Kevin. Thank you so much for taking time out, man. I really appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm doing very good, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for joining us, man. I honestly really appreciate it. And I know there's a bunch of viewers that are going to love seeing you on. Like I've had probably 3 or 4 people request to have you on. You were a fan favorite back in the day. I'm going to start off, though, if you don't mind, with a fan question. You may remember her. Do you remember the Aylfords?
Yeah.
Krista, Emily, and John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember Emily was only like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah. Well, Krista wants to ask you something right quick. She says, if you could ask him, what does it mean to come out in another barn and see Moosehead jerseys there cheering for you? So I'm assuming when you were playing for Rimouski or Shawinigan, they were there. They were there.
But when he's playing for the Mooseheads too, and even on away games type thing. Yeah. So it's a mix of both.
Yeah, and see them Moosehead fans cheering for your name. How's that feel?
Well, honestly, the Mooseheads fans were one of the fan base that followed the team the more. Every away game, there was usually like a bus of fans going to the game, so it was always fun to hear positive cheers on the away team.
Yeah, man.
And there were some arenas where the Moosehead fans would outnumber the home fans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were pretty blessed with a good fan base in Halifax.
So I have a few more questions from fans, and then we'll delve more into it, and we'll take some questions from fans that are actually in the lobby as well. But I can't remember who this was, but they said, I'd like to know if he thinks he would have focused on developing into a different type of player if fighting was banned in the queue like it is today, and I believe that's from Trevor Day.
I honestly don't think I would have had a career in the Quebec Major Hockey League if fighting was banned, because the way I see it is like back then, like the team was based at a puzzle, and if fighting was allowed, like a fighter was kind of a piece of the puzzle. But if you take fighting out of the game, it's no longer a piece that the puzzle needs. So I don't see myself on that team if there's no fighting.
I love that. We were discussing the fact that in your 04-05 season, for a forward, like it's almost ridiculous to think you racked up 235 minutes in the penalty box.
Well, the 10-minute misconduct used to count back then, so that helped a lot to rack up the numbers, because every time you take your helmet off or you take your elbow pads off, you used to get an extra 10 minutes in the box. So that helped rack them up a little.
So we were chatting about this because we were live for about 10 minutes before you came on, and I kind of speculated. I was like, maybe you just didn't like to skate too often, and every once in a while he just wanted to sit down.
It was a fun break, especially my last season when I wasn't that much in shape. Like I let myself go a little bit, so sitting down in the penalty box for 10 minutes was a good way to recoup myself.
Go back out there for 2 and go back sit for 10.
Yeah, exactly.
I got another one from Trevor. Who was your toughest opponent you ever fought?
It's a toss-up between probably Marty Doyle and Jimmy Bono in those aspects, because they were both teams that were in our division, so we faced them a lot. So I think one season I faced Marty 4 or 5 times, and then the season before that I fought against Jimmy probably 6 or 7 times. So those two guys were probably we kind of knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, so we learned as the season went on. So I think those were very good rivalries.
Awesome, man. Now fighting is out of the queue now. Do you care to touch on that, or
for the most part, it's stiffer penalties now. You can still fight, but it's a lot stiffer penalties.
Honestly, I don't really have an opinion on it. I mean, it's hard for people to get ready for that kind of hockey when you get up in the American League or in the NHL or even the East Coast, when you're not allowed to fight. Maybe other leagues can take advantage of players coming out of the queue in that sense.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens in the future. He might get banned all over Canada.
So Trevor added on to your toughest opponent question. He said that he thought you were going to say Jonathan Tremblay.
I only fought against Jonathan one time, and I was a 17-year-old, and he was in his 20-year-old. And I knew that game that I was going to have to fight him, because there was 2 guys in Bathurst. I was playing Junior A in Moncton, and my rights were recently traded from PEI to Halifax. And that game that I was called up, I thought in my mind, I said, please don't let it be against Bathurst. And it was against Bathurst in Halifax. And then there was 2 guys. There was Jonathan Tremblay and James Reinhold. And Sean McKenzie at the time said, tonight, kid, there's 2 guys. He said, if I were you, I'd go after Reinhold, because the other guy is the king of the league. So in warm-ups, I was looking at both guys, but I couldn't find James Reinhold. He wasn't playing that game. So after warm-ups, Sean McKenzie came back in. He's like, it looked like Tremblay is your guy tonight. I was like, oh boy. So I didn't want to let the coach down. I just threw my gloves and hoped for the best. Luckily, nothing landed, but he got the better of me that fight.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah. I love that. I love that you recall that too. Like, I can't remember what I did today for breakfast. Like, in all
honestly,
honesty,
I remember the drive coming up with my dad. We left from Capillet, and we were driving, and I was like, I'm so nervous right now. Like, it's my first time. Like, I don't even know what to do. And he was trying to talk to me. I was like, maybe if you just don't talk, it'll be better.
Shut up, Dad.
Yeah, it was. I remember that drive like it was yesterday.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You got one there, Dill?
Well, actually, you brought this one up earlier the other day when we were talking about it. A great memory is there was one point where somebody you wanted to fight was in the box. And you went and stood outside of the box just waiting for him. What do you remember of that?
So to be fair, that's a fan question as well. I just can't find the name of the fan that asked.
Well, that that game was probably close to 18, 19 years ago. So I don't mind throwing Sean McKenzie under the bus today. But I remember there was a timeout or an offside, and he just looked at me and like told me to come at the bench, and he put his arm around me, and I knew he was going to say that before he said it. But as soon as he said it, it just gave me confirmation that it was okay. So as soon as there were like 40 seconds left in the penalty box, I was just kind of rolling around. And as soon as I saw the minutes go down, I just stood next to the penalty box. And he decided at the end of his penalty to stay in the box. So then I turned around. I was like, what do I do? And Sean was just like this, go. Just go in the box. So that cost me a few suspension games.
You went in the box to fight him?
Yeah, the linesmen were close. It wasn't really a fight. They got in between, but like my intentions were to go into the box just because I wanted to listen to the coach.
Oh, buddy,
that's my excuse.
You're my hero. You're my new hero. I love that. I absolutely love that. Do you remember the movie Goon? Did you ever watch that movie?
Yeah.
Where he goes and he stands and he waits and he's getting punched in the face until the coach says, punch him back. He's like, okay.
Yeah. You had to wait for the okay from the coach.
I love that. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That is absolutely amazing. That's one of my favorite stories and one of my favorite things.
It's a long time ago, guys. So.
Trevor said he remembers it. Like, I guess he was in attendance. He remembers that fight.
Oh, there's quite a few people that remember that.
So, speaking of memory and such, what's your favorite? We asked this to all the players that come on our show. What's your favorite Moose memory that you can think of?
All around with the Mooseheads as my 3 years, 2 years as a Mooseheads, it was probably the thing I remember the most were the team outings where we used to go and sign autographs for the fans. Because every time we would get there, the preparation would be done already. Like seats would be done. So at the time, being 16, 17-year-old, we don't really realize what kind of hard work that goes into preparation for that stuff. But all we remember is meeting people, having fun as a team when we're on those outings. If it was going to the hospital or going in a grocery store to sign autographs, it was always real fun to be a part of the community that accepted us like as teenagers and being trying to be a role model for all the kids around us.
I can imagine that you felt like a superstar.
At the time, I will have to admit, after my first year in Halifax, it was something that it kind of came into my head, and it was hard to like make the difference between like being too overexcited, and in one way it kind of ended up having a big part of my bad decisions going forward. I thought like that superstar kind of fame thing kind of got to my head when I came into the United States.
So to touch on like the going for autographs and stuff, this year like the fan interaction kind of stuff has changed due to some behind the scenes stuff. We're not 100% sure.
Keep in mind the world is changing too.
The world has changed as well. But
yeah.
How important was the fan interaction from a player's side? Like, how important did you think it was to interact with the fans, to go to the hospitals, to do those signings? How do you think it was to make those connections with the fans?
Well, it's a way for us to give back. It's kind of like the only way for us to give back outside of the rink, outside of being on the ice. It's a way for us to interact with the people that only see us with our helmets on and our gloves on and our hockey sticks and just kind of see us in warm-up and get the wave in the warm-up. But at those things, it's time to actually like know the fans, like know the players, and we get a chance to interact with people that we see almost every game. Like I remember, like I went to one of the playoff games last year when the Moosehead played against the Rampart. I went with one of my friends, and across the ice, I saw like big Moosehead section, and I could like see some of the same people that were following the team 15, 20 years ago, still like following the team now. So that's, for me, is like, it's a big, big commitment, big dedication. And when people talk about Moosehead fans, like best fans in the league, like that's a big, big argument there.
Yeah.
Well, and I got to say too, unfortunately I wasn't around. I wasn't living in Halifax when you played here, but it was the interactions like that the autograph signings, the going to the hospitals and everything like that, that made the fans so loyal because they saw the effort that all the players were putting in to be a part of the community. Whether they're from here or they're not, they're looking to give back. And I know for a fact from what they've done in previous years, they have done that type of stuff, and you really build a connection with the players. So you guys, the early teams are the foundation of what helped create the current Moose fans.
Yeah,
100%. Because without your guys' organization and the ones that came before you, parents maybe wouldn't have brought their kids, families wouldn't have been going, and the product wouldn't grow. So thank you for always being part of the community when you were here. I know that.
100%.
Yeah. I got a question for you guys. Now that the fighting is banned in the queue, has the attendance at the game went down?
No, not at all. But the problem we're having is our star players. I noticed it most against the Ramparts in the playoffs last year because it wasn't banned last year, but it was frowned upon. I noticed that there's a lot more headhunting. People taking senseless injuries because there's no form of self-policing. And
that's kind of why. Sorry, I cut you off there, but that's kind of the reason that I didn't want to get into it, because from my side of view as a fighter, it's not fair for good players because they're at liberty to get hurt a lot more. Like people are gonna be like, okay, well, if I hit, let's say Peter Verana, nothing's gonna happen to me.
I
like
get 2 minutes in the box, and that's it.
Yeah. So in that sense of the game, I think it could be dangerous. But I mean, I understand. Like there's incidents that happen. There's maybe one every 200,000 fight that somebody gets seriously injured.
Yep.
But if they want to take it away, I mean, it's not a bad call. It's just opinions.
Yeah,
that's it.
I agree. Trevor says you should have came and said hi, but I think he went to a Ramparts game in Quebec because that's where he lives. I don't think he was in the barn watching a Mooseheads game. I think he went to the Ramparts Stadium, correct?
Yes, I was in Quebec. I was in Quebec at the Ramparts game. Yeah.
Throwing this out there, you're always welcome to it back in the Metro Center, Scotiabank Center. It'll always be the Metro Center to real fans and people that are from here.
Yeah, the Metro Center with the orange seats.
Oh, the
They're
seats
blue
are gone.
now.
They're gone.
They're not there anymore.
No, new
They're
seats.
blue
buddy.
now.
Yeah.
They put cushions. They put better seats in there, but there's less leg room.
Oh,
okay.
Trevor says he was in Quebec watching the game. He said he wished he would have seen you to say hi.
Yeah, I just didn't want to go over there, and like, it was a playoff game, right? So like at the intermission, people go do their stuff and go get food and go to the bathroom, and during the game, people want to watch the game. But I noticed a few faces from far away.
I just want to reiterate this is live so that you guys can ask what you want to ask. We're going through our questions, but if I see a question come up in the comments, we're going to ask. We got 19 people watching right now, so if there's anybody who wants to throw something out there, don't be shy. Throw it out there. We'll ask them.
I got one. Going with the travel and everything you talked about, like going up and playing Bathurst and everything like that. What was your least favorite arena to travel to, whether it be because of the ice or the boards or the dressing room or travel? Like what was the bottom one where you're like, oh, we gotta play these guys to go there?
I would have to say that probably the ratio from the distance to the worst barn was probably Rouen. The barn wasn't that bad, but it was a long way to get there. Like it was like 18 hours in a bus. Like we used to get like 2 drivers because they couldn't go past 8 hours at a time.
Yep.
So they used to switch. Like we would stay in the bus for 18 hours, and it was the barn wasn't bad, but it wasn't fun to go play in the Rouen.
What was your favorite goal he made? I think he's trying to. What was the favorite goal you made? Maybe.
My favorite goal that I made was probably not with the Mooseheads. It was when I was with Shawinigan playing my first game back as in the Metro Center. For me to get to score in Halifax that game. But when I was with the Mooseheads, I think there's a playoff game against Lewiston's where I got lucky enough to play with Rain Carnegie on that game, and Rain set me up 2 times in front of the net, and it was only 2 tap-ins, so scoring 2 goals that playoff game was a good memory.
I could believe that would
So,
be magical for
ta-
sure.
Yeah.
Talking about your first game back with, like, in the building with Shawinigan, what was that experience like? You're now walking in to the Metro Center. You're going past the old dressing room. You're going past the old weight room, and you're going down to the visiting team side and coming out as still a fan favorite with the Mooseheads, but now a quote unquote enemy of the
Yeah.
team. What was that whole experience like, and knowing that that game was coming up?
Yeah, it felt like I was going to play in Moncton at home because Halifax was such a home for me. So going into Metro Center and going past the dressing room and the trainers and all the people that I knew, it was kind of weird. But once on the ice, it was like business as usual. I knew one thing about me when I was playing, I never used to hear the fans at home. Away, I used to hear them because I wanted to hear them. At home, it's like it was always a steady noise.
Yeah.
So for me, when I came back to Halifax, it was a fun experience to play against the Moosehead and get a good receiving
Reception.
how do you say that?
Reception.
In
Good response?
Yeah,
Yeah.
response
Yeah.
from the fans. Yeah.
So
Now, did you have a hard time remembering what penalty box to go to during that game?
There's actually one time where I went in the wrong penalty box. I don't remember, and the linesman came. And he was like, "You got to go on the other side."
Oh, right, yeah. So we had Justin Saunier on our last interview, and he wants you to speak about the brawl in Quebec.
The brawl
Yeah.
against Quebec.
Yeah, that brawl. It was at the end of the game, and Brandon Tidball was a very tough opponent. And during that game, me and him had a few scruffle, but we didn't end up fighting. And at the end of the game, and if somebody didn't want to fight, I respected it. I wasn't going to chase people around unless the coach told me to. Then it's a different story. But that game, something happened that fighting didn't want to happen, and I didn't want to run away from it. But at the end of the game, he came out of his bench when I was in the penalty box, and he tried to go after Justin. So that's when, I just tried to defend Justin there, and it was a fun situation when you're in those places with guys that you talk about it in the dressing room, and when it happens, it's kind of it's a fun situation. Yeah.
So we had sorry, I was paying attention. I was just trying to read this. So we have an insider question, I think. Steven says, I heard you had trouble one night cooking pizza. Does that mean anything to you?
That's yeah. That's probably from Stephen Murray,
Yeah,
the
that's
big dog. Me and Stephen, I was very fortunate. My first year in Halifax, I was every time we get to a team, we get assigned billets, and I think everybody knows what billets are. And Stephen and Donaldo were very receiving. I wasn't the first player that they received, so they were used to receiving players, and they made me feel real welcome. Donaldo was so nice to me, and Stephen was so nice to me. And I think it was my second or third week. I got up and they told me, whatever's in the fridge you can take. What doesn't matter what time it is. This is your house. Don't be shy. No. So one night I went upstairs to make a frozen pizza, and then I was so excited to eat it that when I took it out of the oven, I forgot to turn the oven off. And then I went downstairs and went to bed. And then at 5:30 in the morning, Donaldo started knocking on my door, screaming, and she was like, "Do you know what you did?" I was like, "No." And she was like, as soon as she saw my face, she kind of calmed down, and she was like, "You left the stove open all night."
Oh.
But it was being with them. My years in Halifax made things very, very easier for me because it was a second family where they adopted me as a member of the family, and that made me feel real welcome because I was missing my family, even if it was only 2.5 hours away. I mean, it was my first time away from home, and billets were a big part of my years in Halifax.
So
So shout out to Dog.
So we've discussed what a good job that the QMJHL, the Mooseheads do with billets. They pick the most incredible people to take players into their home. So shout out to all the billets. You guys are doing a really good job, and the boys feel loved and welcomed in your home. So we appreciate you just as much as they do.
I want to apologize at the fact that I keep looking down and picking up my phone. I get the questions and everything on here, so I'm not trying to be rude to you, Kevin, Colin, or anybody in the chat.
It's okay. And if I don't answer right away, it's because I'm French. I'm looking for I live in Quebec now, and I'm used to only talking in French. So now it's like doing a switch in English. It's like, so I'm trying to look for the English word sometimes, but it doesn't slip out as easy as it used to.
That's completely fine. I just wanted to point that out.
Do you still do you still stay in contact with billets, Moosehead players from the past? Like, do you still keep in contact with people that you had in your life at that point in time?
I think there's a few players that I still talk to. I mean, I still talk to Justin Pender once in a while, Bryce Swan. I see a couple of posts.
Swan is going to be on the show as well. Bryce Swan is agreed to be on the show as well. That's
Swan, good. Swan is probably in my hockey career. He's probably one of my favorite teammates because we kind of went up with the Mooseheads at the same time and like both knew. So things. Just a sec, guys.
No, have at it, man.
Oh.
So real quick, keep putting them questions in. He's an open book and he wants to answer them. So if you guys have anything to ask, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. So Bryce Swanee.
Yeah, Swanee was a very fun guy to play with. Great team guy on the ice, off the ice. Just a guy you can have fun with. And there's a lot of insides that me and Bryce have that like we just text each other that sometimes, and we still remember it from like 15 years ago. So those are memories that like they're core memories that you never forget. Like it was a fun time in Halifax for sure.
So is there any funny stories that you could tell us about your time with any of the hockey teams, but preferably the Mooseheads, whether it was away and mini sticks in the hallways or anything?
You guys are putting me in a rough spot right now.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
None that I can really talk about because if this is live, I'll tell you this. My favorite time was on the road. When we left for like, let's say like a 4-game road trips, and we would leave like on Monday and then be gone to like next Wednesday, and we got 4 games in between that. I think that was the best time because if we won, we get a couple of days off in a different town. So that was different. So in the hotels, in the bus, playing cards, like I think every guy that you'll talk to from the QNJHL and even in the Canadian Hockey League, all the memories come from with the boys on the road. Like there's a lot of good memories, yeah, and a lot that you can't tell on YouTube.
I myself played hockey for 15 years. I got to a pretty high level, but unfortunately, and neck injury is what took me out before any type of draft. But after that, I did professional wrestling. So the time on the road, like you're saying, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the car rides, it's being on the bus, it's being in the hotels, just sitting in the dressing rooms beforehand. Those are the memories that really stick with you and the stories, and that's where you become a family.
Yeah, of course. And there's probably a few pranks that I could be said on the podcast or on the show that I'm thinking about now. I used to cut people's laces like just a little bit before practice, so then they'd start tying their skates, and then all of a sudden like the skate lace would break. Either that or like I used to like if there was like only like a tiny bit of soap, I would take the first layer out of the top of the helmet and like stick the soap inside the helmet and put the foam back on. So during practice, the guy would sweat and he would come to me and say, "Kevin, my eyes are burning now. I don't know what's going on."
That's a good one. I've never heard that one before. I've never heard that one.
That's evil.
Yeah,
man.
there's a couple of evil ones too.
So were you the biggest prankster, or was there somebody else?
I was one of the biggest pranksters on all of the teams that I played, and it's kind of like one of the things that made me a teammate which people started respecting me not only on the ice but off the ice too, because I would, even before a game, even though I had to fight a big guy or play a big game, I would always try to be a leader and be loosey goosey with the guys and try to play soccer and like just trying to do my own thing, but like be there for the guys at the same time.
That type of mindset and everything reminds me of my favorite goaltender of all time. You see this in any video, anybody that talks about him.
Marc-Andre Fleury. Yeah.
Right there. It's very much a character. You're very much a character guy in any dressing room that you're in. You're making everybody feel comfortable, whether it's the guy playing his first game and as a call-up or the guy who's been there for however many years. And you're just very much a core guy, and that's definitely something that's needed in any type of sports and in any type of organization.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
So do you follow the Mooseheads and what they're doing since you left?
I can't say that I have. I couldn't name like 3 or 4 players, not because I don't want to, it's because I really don't have the time. Yeah. I follow the Habs, and that's about it. Hey! I mean, I still look at the scores, and when I heard that they were playing against Quebec in the playoffs last year, like I made arrangements to go. Like, I mean, I'm still deep down a diehard Moosehead fan, but not as much as I want to, because I'm away from Halifax, and it's hard to commit to something that I won't be able to be there every game and watch every game.
There's a reason.
Here's a question.
There's a reason.
Oh, sorry.
There's a reason I'm asking is we have some history being made this year. First of all, Russo with his goalie goal a couple weeks ago. That was a good one, and we got.
I saw that. Yeah,
it was crazy, eh?
It was awesome.
And we got Jordan Dumais, about to break the all-time points for the team. He's already broken the assists. He's about to break the points, and I think he's got 7 goals until he breaks the all-time goals as well.
He's 2 points away from breaking Benedict's all-time points, and he's 5 goals away or 6 goals away from beating his all-time goals.
So it's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yeah,
it's happening tonight.
Yeah, that's cool.
The points are happening tonight.
Points are happening tonight.
I remember when I went to watch him last year. He was injured. I think he didn't play that game.
Yeah,
he was. I was looking forward to watch him play. Yeah.
Yeah, he was owed a lot of the playoffs for injury, and when he was back, he was playing hurt. He likes to play. You know, he's a competitor, and he tried his best even when he was injured. So you know, I have nothing but respect for the guy, and I can't wait till tonight to watch him smash the record. Right.
We got a question here in the YouTube. It's from Lindsay. What was your thoughts of playing in Newfoundland? Like, what do you remember going over there? Because when you were in the league, Newfoundland had a team, which they don't anymore. So what were those travels like?
Well, there was the only team in the league where we went somewhere and we played the team 2 games in a row. Because Newfoundland is it's a long ways from Halifax, and it's a long ways from everybody. So it would make sense for every team to play them twice. So there was always be a little rivalry building between those 2 games. But as a city, it was an awesome place to go play. It was fun, and the people there were always nice.
Amanda Murray says, "Heart, my favorite brother."
Yeah, Amanda. I remember Amanda. Wow. My first week, Amanda, for those people who don't know, is Stephen and Danella's daughter, and she's a woman now. She's I saw her the last time I saw her on a picture, and I was like, "There's no way there's Amanda." I remember Amanda being 5 or 6 years old and following me everywhere in the house, and I would hear her dad say, "Amanda, leave him be. He's tired." I said, "Steve, it's okay. Let her come downstairs." And we would play. We formed a really nice bond, me and Amanda.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
She's my little sister for sure.
Playoff type games in the NFLD every time. Yeah. Playoff type games in Newfoundland every time, he says.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the second game, where the first game we kind of feel each other out. and then 24 hours later or less, you face the same guys, right? So you kind of everything's fresh in your mind when you play them back to back.
So moving on from the Q, because we've touched on that. After your time in the Q, you went to the CHL and played with the Arizona Sundogs,
Yeah.
which is an amazing name for a hockey team, by the way. I
Yeah.
said this to Colin when we were looking up the your stats and stuff.
Yeah.
What was the transition like going to the CHL down there and then like the ECHL and AHL? What was the competitive difference and what was the most difficult part of the transition?
Well, I think the most difficult part of the transition was finally, for the first time, really being away from home. Because even if I was in Halifax, even if I was in Rimouski, it's kind of fairly close to home. But going in another country, it's something different. I remember like even going to Halifax to take the plane to go to Phoenix. Like I wasn't sure that I wanted to go to Phoenix. Everything was kind of new, right?
Yeah.
So when I went to Phoenix, everything started pretty well. But then my first training camp, I got injured. So that's I stayed injured for probably like a year and a half, 2 years. And as I was injured, the other players were kind of like getting better, and I would stay at the same level. So as soon as I started playing again, I never became the Kevin Cormier that I was in the Q. And I won't blame it on injuries. I'll blame it on bad decisions on my part. Like we talked at the start, at the fame going to my head, and all of a sudden being in the States and thinking I'd have no responsibility and being the king of the world, and the fact that I wasn't training, and like I said, people around me were getting better as I was staying kind of at the same level. I had a huge awakening when I faced guys like Kip Brennan and Jimmy Bono again. Like I fought Jimmy again when he was playing pro, and he wasn't the same fighter that I would playing junior. You know, like it's same thing with Nathan Saunders. Nathan Saunders, when he was with the Wildcats, I think one game I got the better of him, but we fought again at NHL camp, and man, his strength and everything was just stronger about him. So that transition for me was hard because I wasn't able to adapt as soon as I wanted to, and when I was healthy enough to play, I felt like the people around me had a step on me, so it kind of had an effect on my confidence, and it was just it wasn't the same environment either as being in the Q as of being a professional in the States.
Yeah.
What was the injury?
Pardon me?
What was the injury? I'm curious.
The injury, I can kind of show it right now.
Oh.
It's an elbow surgery. I fell on my elbow pad came up in one of the fights in the training camp my first year, and the impact on the ice was my elbow ball, and it shattered the ball. And I kind of didn't want to go tell the trainers that I was hurt because I didn't want to miss. I didn't want to miss any time, so I played with it injured, and it kind of swelled up, and I had an infection in it, a staph B infection, and then I stayed in the hospital for like 4 weeks. It was very dangerous, very stupid on my part not to tell that I was injured. My elbow was like the size of my kneecap, like orange or yellow and purple.
That's a lesson to the boys playing now. If you're hurt, there's more important things than hockey. Your health is way more important. Wow. I have a question. You finished hockey, and keeping with your spirit, you went into boxing.
Yeah.
Who'd you train with? Any notable names that you may have fought? I too trained. I trained here in Dartmouth boxing. I trained under Kirk Johnson's father, Gary. And I also train mixed martial arts. So fighting is very close to my heart. So I'd love to know who you trained with and who maybe you might have fought. I might know.
I definitely fought nobody that you know because I only had like 4 or 5 boxing fights, all like kind of amateur. I think there was 1 or 2 considered pro boxing fight, but it was only the title. We weren't professional boxers. I started training boxing when I was with Halifax, actually, with a guy named Gerard. I don't remember his last name, but he was like kind of maybe 50, 55 years old. And when he would get in the ring, like he would spar with the young guys, and he would amaze me. And he never really hit me when we were training, so that's kind of like I kind of like boxing. I never got hit. I was only training. So when I finished my hockey career, I thought like I was looking for a little extra cash, you know. So when that opportunity came up that first time in Quebec, because the way it happened was I was playing with the 3L de Rivière-du-Loup, and they had a boxing event on the weekend that we weren't playing, and they wanted to get some people at the boxing event. So me and two other players from the hockey team were assigned a boxing match in the boxing event.
They allowed that in that league? Wow.
So
No, they assigned it. They assigned him.
Yeah,
They were like, "You're fighting this guy."
Yeah.
Wow.
So me, Nick Foran, and Donald Brashear each had a boxing fight as hockey fighters in a boxing event.
Wow.
Against boxers or against like other?
Against boxers. I think my opponent had like 2 fights or 3 fights. It was set up for us to win. Like the guy was not a legit boxer. Like even as a hockey fighter, I had more experience than him in the ring. But it was only, it kind of gave me a little bit of boost to continue my boxing career. And then after my 4th or 5th fight, I fought somebody that could actually box. And it went farther than the 3rd round, and I was dead after the 3rd round. Like I didn't have no cardio.
Just
I wasn't
gassed.
Yeah. It wasn't a good experience boxing.
So Trevor says it was Gerard Barrett.
Gerard Barrett. Yeah.
And my son has a question. He says, "What's your favorite?" My son's 7, by the way. He just got into hockey last year, and he's a huge fan. He loves it. What was your favorite pregame meal?
Quiznos sub.
What type?
When I was with the Moosehead, it was always, we used to go to Quiznos after pregame meal, and then like a 2-hour nap.
That's
Do
funny.
you remember? Would you get the same type of sub every day? And do you still remember the order?
Sub every day. Like I would go in telling myself I was going to take something different, and as soon as it came to order, I was like, chicken carb, please.
So let's ask what you're up to now. What are you doing now? What have you had to face any adversity? Is there anything you'd like to speak on?
Right now, I'm in a little village in Quebec called Saint-Agapi. I'm probably like 45 minutes away from where my girls are right now. I see them every other weekend. Even when they just started school, so it's kind of hard for me to see them during the week. But I have a very good job here. I work in a steel factory as in French it's called a magasinier. I take care of parts, so it's kind of relatively new. I kind of went through a hard time there after my hockey career. I won't get into it that much, but I struggled with addiction after those surgeries I had on my elbow. I had a few more injuries, and I kept getting pain medicine from the doctors. And one thing just led to another. As soon as I finished hockey, I didn't have those pills anymore, so I find another way to get them. And things just gradually got worse. And until my second daughter was born, I decided, well, after she was born, I decided to go for help. I was using every day, and things were out of control. And for me to be able to be in their lives, I had to get mine in order. So in 2020, I made the best decision of my life. I went to rehab. I stayed in the enclosed rehab for 1 year. I've been sober now. It's going to be 4 years on February 2nd.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Out of all the things that I talk about right now today, it's not my hockey career. It's not my drafting from the Phoenix. It's not my fights. It's my sobriety. It's my biggest accomplishment. I never thought I was going to be able to do it until I was faced with the choices that I had to make in order for me to be happy.
No, there's definitely no ability in that, man, and it's probably the biggest fight you'll ever have to have in your life.
And you won.
and you won. I touched on it with you that my sister-in-law, God rest her soul, she didn't she wasn't able to win that fight, and I have massive amount of respect for anybody who can, and you know, you're always in recovery. You know what I mean? You're always going to be an addict, and you just take it day by day. And what I said to you prior to this to this interview is, I'm glad that you're able to share that with people, and they know that you're able to do it. So it's not impossible. If you're suffering with an addiction, get help. Reach out to a loved one, but there's always somebody there that can help you, and you can do it too.
Definitely, yeah. Talking about it is the biggest thing.
I myself haven't gone through addiction, but I've gone through personal stuff, as everybody has. And one of the things that really helps me is I got a tattoo right here, if it'll show it. It's a phoenix rising from the ashes. And I look at it every day, and this can go to whether you're fighting addiction, no matter whether you're going through personal stuff. To me, that signifies no matter how far you fall, you can always rise. You can always overcome what you're going through.
My wife adds, addiction is never an easy thing to overcome. She says congratulations, and she's proud of you.
Not just her. Every Moose fan is proud of you.
Yeah.
Everybody is proud of you and happy that you were able to overcome it.
Yeah.
I think you said
continuing the good fight.
When you said that it was my biggest fight, I never really looked at it that way, but it's probably my biggest fight of my life. Like, even if I had all the fights on the ice and those little boxing fights, like, addiction was my biggest fight, and it was my longest fight. You know, took me. I was using for almost 8 years, like gradually getting worse and worse. But then, when I finally decided to talk about it and admit that I had a problem, things turned around. And ever since I got sober, it's only been like check mark in the win column. You know, like everything. If you talk about the relationship with my parents, the mother of my child, my daughters, like everybody, like even my job, like I have an important job now because people trust me. Like 2 years ago, 5 years ago, people wouldn't trust me. Like, they wouldn't leave wallets around me. Like, I was not a good person. Like, I would do anything to get the high. You know what I mean? Like, addiction makes you not be yourself. And that's what people don't understand. It's a disease. You're not a bad person. Like,
that's right.
I don't consider myself a bad person, but I did bad things.
Yeah.
Well, that leads into, so on the YouTube chat here, there's nothing but love from everybody that's in there towards you. Trevor says, congratulations, good for you. There's another one in here. I believe the person's name is Steven.
Yeah, Murray.
Steven says, most courageous and loving man we know. So, like, the fact that, like, people are standing behind you and have nothing but support for you, and everybody that you surround yourself with supports you in this fight, and how everybody feels about you, it just, again, goes back to shows the type of person that you are and the type of person you were in the dressing room, cutting people's skates slightly or putting soap in their helmet, right? Like, it goes back, that's you. It's not, the addiction doesn't define you.
Yeah. I also want to say that I'm going to steal a line from Dylan. We have something we say on the show here, and it's once a Moosehead, always a Moosehead. And if you ever need to reach out and talk, whether it's yourself, Kevin, I'm always available, or it's anybody else. Most people who's watching knows my Facebook, and if you ever need to just talk to somebody who wants to listen, hit us up. Addiction and mental health is a real thing, and if you need help, reach out.
I heard a quote, and this can be the end of it, but I heard a quote the other day. I was watching the Country Music Awards, and Jelly Roll, at the age of 39, won the Best New Artist.
Yeah.
In his speech, he went in and said, "Keep fighting." And this is my favorite quote, and it'll stick with me for the rest of my life. There is a reason that the windshield in front of you is bigger than the rearview mirror looking behind you, because what's in front of you is more important than what has ever been behind you.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you guys. Since I stopped playing hockey, in all the places that I've been, I've gotten invitations to do podcasts and interviews, and I always refused them because I never wanted to talk about my addiction, my past. I didn't want to dwell on it. I didn't want people to take pity on me. But I'm at a point right now in my life that when you asked me to do this interview, I felt like I was kind of giving back to the Mooseheads fan, even if it's only 15, 20, 25, 50 people. I miss Halifax, and I was definitely excited when you guys asked me, and I'm happy to touch on a little bit on addiction too, because a lot of people that are from Halifax didn't know what happened to me, and now that they know it, like even if they saw me as a fighter back then, it could happen to anybody. Like It doesn't matter who you are, like you can't take nothing for granted.
I'll tell you
Go ahead.
One of my favorite quotes, you were talking quotes there, Dylan. One of my favorite quotes ever is by a boxer, and believe it or not, it's Mike Tyson. And he says, everybody has a plan until they get hit. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's probably the smartest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. He says it like this. Everybody has a plan until you get hit.
I was going to say, if you're going to quote Mike Tyson, you got to say it in his voice, right? Like, there's just certain people.
All right, so we'll wrap it up, but I'm going to ask you, is there anything...
I got one more
ahead.
touching on the... Is there any advice you would give somebody who is currently going through addiction from your experience? Like, as dark as it can get, is there... You've made it through, and you're still fighting, but you've pushed through the hardest part of it. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about starting to go sober, trying to?
Well, I'll be bluntly honest. If I had to say a message to somebody, it would be the people around addicts. How to deal with people around you being an addict. Yes. Because if you're an addict, I can tell you the best stories in the world. I can tell you the best reasons to go to. If it doesn't come from your heart or your head, it doesn't matter what you say. It's not going to change your mind. I won't change your mind if I only tell you what to do. It has to come from you. Yep. Then if you come ask me, I can give you the tools to help. But it's the people around that person. If I can give advice, even if you think you're helping, don't enable that person. Yep. You're not helping them if you're like giving them money or giving them a place to stay. Like for me to get better, I had to receive hard love from my parents and my surroundings. I had to receive hard love from my ex. She didn't want to let me see the kids because I wasn't good. Like I had to get very low, hit rock bottom. So if you're around people that are addicts, try not to put too much pressure on yourself. I know it's hard to just say that. Don't be nervous, but there's nothing you can do if it doesn't come from that person.
Yeah, 100%.
It's yeah.
You got to want the help. I heard a really cool thing. Don't quit forever. Quit for today, and then we'll talk about tomorrow.
One day at a time.
Yeah,
one day at a time for sure.
Is there anything you would like to say to the fans, the Mooseheads of today and yesterday? And to the Moosehead organization before we let you go? It's your platform. Whatever you want to say, have at it.
Complete open book.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to you guys. It's been fun to chat. It's fun to go to memory lane, and definitely when I go back to Halifax, I'm definitely gonna go watch a game. I mean, I miss the place. I just haven't been there in so long. I always had a lot of respect for the Mooseheads fan and organization that treated me really well. I mean, even as a 20-year-old, they already had their 20-year-old, so they traded me to Rimouski so I could play with my brother. So there's a lot of mutual respect coming in as a player and as an organization. And Halifax was definitely top of the line and class organization.
Well, I'll tell you, if you make it down, give me some heads up, and your tickets will be on us.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Everybody, awesome. I know everybody in that building who are still there from back when you played would absolutely love to see you and just love to say hi or catch up and see how you're doing.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much for the enlightening interview, man. It was honestly probably my favorite one yet. You're a real down-to-earth guy and just a legend of a human being, so I really do appreciate you taking the time out for us.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day, and go Moose, go!
That's right.
Go Moose.
Hope you're all healthy, safe, and happy out there. And as always, they already said it. Go Moose, go.